Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. Today we talk about Kaizer Chiefs versus Chippa United. Chippa la chips. I'm a chips. I'm Nandi. Position number 16. Go grand, go Nandi, go fresh. We're talking about Chippa, but before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's talk about the starting 11. Shut up. Let's talk about the starting 11. Peterson is my number one fighter. The rest are not my fighters. Because technically we only have one other goalkeeper at this point. And that is Ubvuma. Because Ndwari is injured and two of our DDC goalkeepers are currently in the UK. So we only have one replacement. It would be interesting to see what would happen if there was a game right now where Peterson gets injured and then Vuma gets injured. Like, who would we have to call to be our goalkeeper? It would be interesting. So if our two goalkeepers get injured now, are we going to have to force one of those UK DDC players to get on a quick flight for the next game? Or there's another DDC Chiefs goalkeeper who's like an Indian boy, but is more on the younger side. Will they be forced to put him on the field? Which would be interesting. But yeah, let's not get into those complicated things. Left back, Cross, we all saw he got injured. We don't know how serious the knock is, but I think it's one of those things where they're probably going to be cautious because he had to get substituted. So probably we'll see Marco coming on. Would it be a good game to see what Shinga can do? But let's see. But for now, I'm just going to say Marco because, we haven't seen much of Shinga. But it probably might be a good game to see what Shinga can do. Me personally, that's what I think. Then we have the centre backs, which is a big problem. Knowing what we know, in the past two games, Miguel hasn't been at his best, right? He hasn't been at his best. But maybe I was also getting, like, his mistakes were too critical and it was making me not see all of the other things that he was doing right. And I think that's maybe something I haven't taken a chance to look at. But it's just that his mistakes have been so crucial that there's one thing I know about defense, and I think a lot of people, because when you look, there's a ratings thing out there that says Miguel was actually one of the best performing players on the day in the CAF Confederation game against Zamalek. But there's one thing I know people have not had the time to actually understand about a defender. A defender who starts appearing shaky, that defender becomes a weakness in the defense. And let me explain this properly. It's not a weakness that the other teams can target him and he's gonna be continually making mistakes, etc. It's also that his teammates lose confidence in him, right? Because they feel he's going to make mistakes, and his teammates do things that show that they're losing trust in him. So, for example, if Quinica is feeling like he's getting pressed, and the only person who is open is Miguel, Quinica, if he doesn't trust Miguel anymore, is not going to choose Miguel as an option for him to pass. He's going to try find the solution for himself, and that is a problem. A player who is weak, you know what it does to the keeper? It makes the keeper start doing things that are outside of his characteristics. Like we're seeing Peterson coming out more like in the free kicks, or just starting to do things like there's a thing that Peterson has been doing in the past two games is that he doesn't trap the ball and pass over Miguel sometimes. He will just hoof the ball. The moment he gets the ball, he will just kick it long. And sometimes I think to myself, is this a strategy from training, or is Peterson just not comfortable with these guys having the ball under the pressure from other players, etc. So that's why I'm saying, in my starting lineup, I'm going to say this is the people I expect to start tomorrow. I'm going to qualify that. Would I try someone else? Yes, I think I would try see what Msimango can give us in this game, right? Against Chippa. Even though it might be those kind of games where Chippa is playing a low block and they're hitting us on counters. And that's why I feel like Miguel is probably going to suffer tomorrow. Because if they're hitting us on counters, we know Miguel has a problem with pace. So it may be a game that's actually best suited for Msimang. Then I'd start Guinica, right back. Solomons is our right back right now. When will Munyani come back? I don't know. I think the coaches are kind of playing the whole role of Solomons hasn't done anything wrong, so why would we substitute him or take him out of the position? Me personally, I still want to see Monyani more, right? So I would have opted for Monyani. And I know Monyani could also have his mistakes. We all know that. I know Monyani could also have his mistakes. It's just that it would be nice to see if he can give us a different element on that right side than what Solomons is giving us. But Solomons technically has 2 goals in 2 games. So there's more reason for him to start than not to start. So I'll just accept that Solomons is starting. The midfield. If this is going to be a game where we find a team playing a low block, these guys are going to have to decide whether they are going to use Mtetwa or not for this game, right? Because it seems like Mtetwa is almost a strategy to contain teams, especially in the first half, it's more likely that Mtetwa will start. He will be the starter in this game, and then he will play alongside Maboa. I think Maboa is still going to start, and I don't see any reason why Maboa wouldn't start. If they were going to do something a bit different in this game, they could rest Mtetwa and maybe bring Undlovu no Maboa to partner up in that midfield. Why do I say those 2 players? Because they play together at SuperSport. They already know how to play together. Or they could, I don't know why Kaizer didn't make the previous game, or maybe they could try Maboa and Kaizer. Just make Kaizer a 6. That's his role. Make him a 6 and make Maboa the one who's more advanced. That maybe could work. So maybe it's a time for us to see if we play a proper let's say, ball-dominant midfield. Because sometimes if you have a ball-dominant midfield, there's less chances of the other team taking the ball from you. So there's less chance of you getting attacked. So it's also another tactic to defend. Sometimes a tactic to defend is to have the ball. That's sometimes the best way to also defend, to have the ball. So we'll see. But it most likely will be Mtetwa and Maboa. And then, here's where it gets interesting. Left wing, Modi has been starting. I say Velibai must start. We don't know when Lilepo is going to come back. I really wish he comes back soon because Lilepo, with all his misses, he gives us a lot. He gives us pace. He gives us height in the box. We know Lilepo has his mistakes. We won't come here and act like Lilepo is perfect and like without Lilepo we can't function and all of those things. We won't act like that. But there's an element of his game that he's a threat that other teams would rather not have. Let me put it that way. He's a threat that other teams would rather not have, and they can't ignore him. The only thing is that Lilepo beats all of these teams, but then he beats himself at the same time. And that's his biggest problem. Lilepo should be the best player in this league based on the chances he receives, all the opportunities he has. He just beats himself. It's not other teams being so good that they stop him. No, he stops himself by shooting off target, by not running into the box enough, by not getting into the box for headers, etc. So there's that. Then Number 10. Number 10 will probably still be Mdu Shabalala. Mdu Shabalala at this point is our base 10. But you guys know from my previous post what I said. I want to see Vilagazi at the 10 position. And then Mdu can start on the right wing. That's what I want to see. I want to see that even if we get Mdu Shabalala and Velibai to swap at some point on the game, to make Velibai come to the right, and then to make Mdu Shabalala go to the left, and then they swap. to see which one is affecting which position better. Then we have Vilagazi in the middle. I feel like Vilagazi will figure out a way to unlock these two to run behind, and he'll find ways to actually connect with Igodaro. Fun fact about this one, I may be plumbing or being not thinking too well, but I feel the coaches are going to choose Flavio to start. And here's why. Gaston Serino is injured. It made sense for Gaston Serino and Flavio to come into the pitch together, because Gaston Serino was always the one who was finding Flavio, right? So Gaston would always expose the tired defenders, and Flavio at that time, he would just find pockets of spaces to exploit. But now that Gaston is injured, Flavio is probably going to need more time on the field to have an impact, because we don't have a Gaston Serino right now who can pinpoint crosses to Flavio and all those things. Meaning that the players that we currently have, they're going to take, let's make an example. If Serino delivers the ball, let's say, to the striker maybe 5 times, like deliver the top quality crosses to a striker in the box 5 times in a game, you'll find that with the other players, it maybe will be 2 times in a game where they deliver top quality chances. And what I'm saying with that is that you don't want those 2 chances to have been in the first half. And then in the second half, when you put on Flavio, the chances are not there anymore. And that's why I'm saying this may be the game where Flavio actually starts. And now another interesting thing is coming in that Mayo is also back. And Mayo is fit. However, if a team is playing low block, look at how I'm challenging myself. As I'm making this analysis, I am also looking at the opponent and what the opponent could be doing. If the team is going to play a low block, it is probably better to have Igodaro in that team, because it means we're going to always have the ball and we are going to be pretty much playing in the half of the opposition. What does that mean? That means there's probably going to be more crosses. There's probably going to be a lot more things. But I know what a lot of you are going to argue. A lot of you are going to argue that, but Igodaro tends to not want to stay in the box. So wouldn't it be better to have Flavio, who wants to stay in the box, for those actual crosses? And this is my thing. If Igodaro is played with a low block team, he will have no other option but to stay in the box. And that's the best way I can put it. He will have to stay in the box because he will just have to stay in the kitchen. But yeah, this actually, my opinion is that this may be a Flavio Silva game and a Kanyisa Mayo game more than it is an Igodaro game, especially if it's going to be a team that plays low block. I haven't watched Chippa in a while, so I don't know how they're really playing in these current games. So I'd be lying if I can say I recall I've watched the recent Chippa game. But I will say this, this is a must-win 3-point. And I'm saying this just that the Chiefs fans need it. We need it. I feel like this is the moment where these co-coaches in Betrayal Football, they need to fluke wins when they need to fluke wins and just give the fans hope, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because I don't want my team to lose at the expense of exposing these guys, right? But at the same time, I understand my management. My management is the management that is short-sighted, meaning Guti, they will see these guys win 1 or 2 games, and then they will start believing Guti, these guys deserve another season. And that is a problem, because at this point, our management needs to be analyzing from practice, from training, to how they manage players off the field, to how they're doing things on the field, to decide that can these guys actually handle this brand? From the little that we've seen, there's a lot of doubt in whether they can handle the brand, right? And when I say handle the brand, I'm going to put it like this. I mean handle the brand in terms of they had Chiefs needs to make a decision on who is the coach at this moment. I think that's a fair assessment that we should be making. It should not be co-coaching. One of them needs to be coach. I am backing more Kaizer than I am Khalil, but that's a story for another day. But they need to back one person to be the coach. So at least we understand where the fault is coming in. And then number two is there's a lot of things we've been seeing here and there in how the players are responding. Miguel hasn't responded to these two guys the way we expect him to respond. That's the one thing we've been picking up. Modi is not responding the way we want him to respond. There's a lot of players who have been hit by the Nabi sacking, and they haven't really come to the party. But there's others who have taken this opportunity to give off some of the best performances they've been able to give in a long time, like Solomon's, like Cross. These are the players who have picked up their hands. So in that, I want to say, good luck to Chiefs tomorrow. I really want us to win. We need the 3 points. I just want us to just continue being in this run. Like when the season ends, right? When the season ends, I will be so happy if the season ends and the worst we are is 6 points behind the winner. If we are like 6 points behind the winner, for me, that will be a win. Because it will mean that on the last 3 games, anything was possible. We could have won, we could have sneaked in and won it or whatever. But I know realistically, we will probably be more than 10 points away from the winner. Like if it's 20, that's horrible. But realistically, we'll probably be more 10 points away from the winner. Unless Chiefs does something in the AFCON window that drastically changes Chiefs' second half of the season. And I'm going to stress that. If Kaizer Chiefs management makes the right moves in this AFCON period, Chiefs could really take the league. What could that be? Number one, fixing the coaching problem. If it means bringing Pizzo now, it's the beginning of December. Bring Pizzo now. I think we're playing our last 2 games this week. Bring Pizzo now. And I'm saying Pizzo as an example, a big coach. This coach is going to have December and Jan to work on the full squad. Full squad. Because we don't have any AFCON players. Unless, I can't recall, I think Ntwari is injured, so he's not going there. Flavio Silva's team, I think it's Guinea. I don't think they're in the AFCON. So, all I have to say is that we're going to have our full squad for the AFCON. And if Chiefs is really serious, they could bring a coach who could basically drill this team for the next 2 months. And by the time the season starts, something big could happen. Even to the point of maybe bringing 1 or 2 or 3 extra players and letting go of another 3 or 2 extra players. Like, for example, letting go of Morris, those kind of moves. And then maybe add 1 or 2 extra players. Just to, get the team beefed up. Those are the big moves. But if we continue with the co-coaches, I don't think we're going to win the league. We shouldn't think of the league if we continue with the co-coach. Not because, it's just because I've seen how they're coaching. They just isn't no cohesion. Like, we can't see what they're doing. For example, I'll make a quick example by saying Pirates' coach, when he started, even when they were losing, you could see what the coach was doing. It's just that the ball was not hitting the back of the net. And then now they're starting to win. You can already see that this doesn't start. This is not a fluke. This has been starting from a long time ago. It's just that now the project is together. You can see with Sundowns Cardoso that I saw that this ship is going to crash a long time ago with Cardoso. And that's why I want Cardoso to stay at Sundowns. He's good for the league. We will win the league now with Cardoso. As long as they keep Cardoso, we will win the league. Amakhosi.